Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Turn 70 of A Worthy Opponent, a Hearthstone podcast for the player. I am Black Lace, and with me in the studio this evening, welcome back, Micmac. Hope you had a great happy birthday.
Oh, it was a great birthday and well met. Thank you very much.
You were missed.
I missed
You were
everyone.
absolutely missed. And also with me, we have a special guest, Patio Furniture.
How is this supposed to work? Your enemies think, hey, cute sheep, and run over to cuddle it?
Explosive
Have to be
sheep.
Explosive sheep, yeah. No doubt about that one.
I'm no stranger to explosives today, so that's why I picked
Oh.
that one.
Oh. Yes, Autumn's Bane. If all of a sudden, while we're in the middle of talking or going over cards, Autumn's Bane misses his turn, it's because he's missing his turn and he's AFK.
No,
We
you
won't go
see,
any further than that.
Patio
Imploding.
Furniture
Patio
has a pot
Furniture.
of gold. Autumn's Bane has a pot of porcelain.
Anyway, so we have a few things to talk about tonight. First of all, we want to say happy birthday and happy anniversary because it's been called both for Hearthstone. It's actual complete 1 year of Hearthstone now. They're asking people to share their story on the on their website, and they're also asking people if you bake something like a Hearthstone cake, send a picture on Twitter, share your photo on Twitter at one more time at Play Hearthstone, and then they want you to hashtag pound HS birthday. So just passing that along. They had this big old Hearthstone cake that they all shared with the developers and the team. They had a very big picture of it, and it made me want cake.
Well, forget
Not
your cake.
pie.
Let me talk about the explosive sheep. You talked right over me.
I didn't think you really wanted to talk about explosive sheep right now with the way you were feeling. But go
Well,
ahead.
it's a 2 casting cost mech. It's a 1/1 with the battle cry. Deal 2 damage to all minions. I'm sorry, did I say battle cry? I meant death rattle. See, I can't read.
And it has some of the best artwork in the game on that card.
You really like the ugly ones, don't you?
There's so much detail. I think it's great and colorful too.
Yes, Ralph Horsley did the artwork on that, and he did a good job. And if you look carefully, you could see a flock of sheep in the back. I'd rather see a flock of seagulls, but there's a flock of sheep in the back.
I saw a seagull today, but you'll have to tell me. I have to tell you about it later.
So
I work at a veterinary clinic. Yes, there was a seagull there.
What's his name? Jonathan.
No, and he wasn't Livingston. Wanted to comment a little bit about stuff that we spoke about last week. One was paying the $24.99 for the new card back. I'm sorry I ranted about it.
For the game.
Oh, for the game, right.
I'm getting the card back.
Right. Why don't you go ahead, Patio? Or is it Patty? And then it's O Furniture.
That's it.
Okay, go ahead,
No.
Patty.
No, so I listened to the episodes afterwards, and some people did go on a bit long about that, and we got a few comments through Twitter and email, and too many to actually read. And
I'm sorry.
A good point was brought up is that if you wanted the Warlords of Draenor card back, you did have to buy the Warlords of Draenor Collector's Edition. And if you wanted the BlizzCon card back, you did have to buy a BlizzCon ticket, either real or virtual. And the only real distinction between those and the issue from last week is that you can't pay for Warlords of Draenor or BlizzCon with gold. But that being aside, yes, we get it. We got it. We understood. But Black Lace also wanted to defend something she said where she was just quoting someone and not really giving her opinion on it. You want to take that?
Yeah, just basically last week I had been quoting some people about the new expansion, and one of them mentioned feeling like the game was definitely a pay to win, and he was also talking about the new card back. And when I was reading that, I did mention that I could see his side of it and understood where he was coming from. I do not feel personally that the game is pay to win, because I really don't spend a lot of money on cards. I spend a lot of gold on cards. I have spent money for the fun of it, but not to try to up my cards, and I still win a fair share of my game. So just letting people know, I, as a host of the show, was not saying that the game has gone pay to win. I don't feel that. But I can say that I do see how people could think that, if that makes sense. I mean, I was seeing their point of view.
Let's hear Micmac's point of view. He wasn't here.
So I'm right out of the gate. I'm going to buy the expansion with cash. I really want that card back, and I do. I'm such a sucker for that kind of stuff, but I really want it.
I can't imagine how it's got to be gorgeous. I mean, I can see the animation of the lava just going all over the place.
Yep, I know. It's going to be glorious, but yeah, I really want that card back, and I love this game. I love Hearthstone, and I have no problem giving a little bit of money to Blizzard to do so. My gold is just for my arena games, and the packs that I open up are from my arena wins. So my any cards, expansions, whatever, I'll buy one huge like block of cards. I'll buy the adventure mode that comes out, what have you. That's what I will do perpetually from now on with Hearthstone.
Autumn Spain?
I have
I'm
nothing
hearing
to add.
feedback. You have nothing to add. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on from there as well. Before we jump into you talking about the tournaments, Micmac, I want to say that spring is about 4 or 5 days away, which means we're going to have to start talking about our next tournament already.
Ooh, that's right.
It's almost spring. And
I was just thinking about that today.
Yep. So we will start talking about it. We're not going to do anything funky this time. Depending on when it falls, and we have to find out when the expansion is really going to be released, because the pre-order's been announced, but the actual expansion hasn't been announced. Adventure. Last time we did this around the same time and Adventure was released, we basically limited you to cards up to but before that Adventure, so that everybody would have the same basic package to pick from. We're not going to do anything like we did last time where, only common cards or whatever. We're going to let people play their decks as they want to play their decks. But depending on when the tournament is decided on and falls, we may have that stipulation of no cards from BlackRock might be part of it. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, if it releases well before the end of spring, then of course they'll be allowed. But
right,
we have to see how that goes.
Exactly, because we need the release date. That said, yep, there's going to be a spring tournament, so we will let you know once we have the date and time. And don't start saying yes, I want to be in it yet, because we're not there yet. So start thinking about it, but no emails yet on that score. But as for more information on tourneys that are not from a worthy opponent, we have Micmac. Yay!
Yay! Well, yesterday, Sunday, was the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series continued with a tournament held in Katowice, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Poland. And there were 8 players in total, 3 well-known invited players, known as Life Coach, Amaz, and RDU, and there were 5 qualified players, James. And now, I just love it when people use these generic first names as their Hearthstone tags. It's most likely their first name, but I can't be too sure. I really enjoy seeing that anyhow. We have James and Deeren, Orange, the Gaiden, and Sir Christian. So there was a $25,000 prize pool and 230 Hearthstone World Championship points. And so those points that you see there, those are used as qualifying currency, what have you, for the regional qualifier tournaments for the BlizzCon Championship. And that won't happen until the actual championship approaches. But anyhow, so spoiler alert, if anyone wants to watch the video on demands, Orange beat out Amaz in the finals, going 3-0 against him, best out of 5. It is incredibly difficult and very rare to see someone not get a single win against an opponent at this level and during these tournaments. Personally, I was rooting for Orange because a few months ago at the Pinnacle 2 tournament hosted by Team Archon, which is Amaz's team, Orange was somehow disconnected and he ended up losing his match. So, as Uther would say, justice demands retribution.
So he won.
He won. He won
Nice.
indeed. Good for him. I'm very happy for him. And he's
Awesome.
he's some fresh blood in the scene. It's
Awesome,
nice.
awesome.
A blood orange.
Have you ever seen a blood orange?
I have, and I couldn't eat it.
No.
No, I actually opened it up one day. I'm like, oh, this is kind of bizarre.
They're for vampires with vitamin C deficiency.
There you go. All right.
So not me.
Let's talk cards. I'm in the mood to talk cards tonight. We'll see if we can actually finish the whole expansion with talking about Warrior and no, we can't. Warrior's the only one we have left.
And Druid?
We did Druid.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
Druid?
neutral. The neutral tab has fangs and it made me think Druid.
I can see that when the druid,
Yes.
uses its
It
hero
looks
power.
kind of clawish. Or it looks like the Druid Claw, if it's in black and white. Let's start with Autumn's Bane. Want to talk about the first card?
Well, I suppose I will. So we're talking warrior goblins versus gnomes, and the first one, which I happen to have in gold and it looks pretty neat, is the Warbot. So 1 casting cost, 1/3 mech. The special ability is an enrage mechanic, so enrage plus 1 attack. So if he gets damaged, he goes from 1 attack to 2 attack. And I had him in my warrior deck, and I ended up taking him out because there are so many better 1 casting cost minions out there. I think I had originally taken out my leper gnomes to put him in, and I put the leper gnomes back.
Probably a smart move.
I can't talk much about the warrior cards because that's my least favorite class. I like them all. I do. I try to play them all, but that's just the one. Somebody has to be the least favorite. But as a card, this one's not too bad if you're going to go for like a weenie deck, because there are a lot of times that an enrage card that has a small enrage on it only has a 1 health. So sometimes, like look at what was it, the sheep or the angry chicken? Whereas if you enrage it, you kill it.
The angry chicken.
Yeah. This one at least has some staying power. So for a 1/3 creature right off the bat, if you're against a mage, they're not going to want to pop it with their little fireball because they are going to make it a little bit harder, more attack power to them, and they're not going to kill it right away because it's got 3 life. So it's not so bad a card.
It's true. He's not a weenie that's going to be taken out in the first round by most enemies.
Right. So for one casting cost, a 1/3 card isn't that bad, and it very quickly can become a +1. So meaning a 2/3. So it's not too bad a card.
Well, it fits a place that the warrior didn't have before as a entry-level minion. So if you look at, say, the warlock, it has a 1/3 void caller, which has a void walker, which has taunt, right? Northshire cleric 1/3, which has an amazing ability that can get you to draw a card if another minion is healed. For some reason, this card isn't underpowered. It's not overpowered. I think it's just okay. I do wish it had a little bit more attack, but if it had +2 attack from enrage, that would be overpowered, right? 2 attack to me seems, I guess it's all right. If you could somehow make it have 2.5 attack, perfect.
2.5 attack.
2.5 attack, perfect card. But that's not possible, so it's all right. I've actually tossed this card into a Warrior's my favorite class, of course. I tossed it into a Warrior Enraged deck, and I tossed it into a Warrior Mech deck, and it's just been okay. He really hasn't been stunning. Early
Yeah, but
game,
he's a mech card too. Keep that in mind. I didn't even notice that when you said that. It's a mech card, so it could come out for 0 casting cost if you have that card in play.
right? The Mech Warper.
Or it can become a 3 because you've got the other card that gives your mechs extra point. I mean, so in a mech deck, yeah, if a warrior mech deck, it's not that bad a card for 1 casting cost.
Yeah, it has some synergies. I just wish it was a little, fancier.
It's vanilla. It's fine. It's just vanilla, and the game needs a base of vanilla cards to be used, for specific purposes and specific decks. And this meets that need. It's just nothing to go, oh wow, how great.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I used it is because I got it in gold.
That must look really nice.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Nick Mac, you want to go? We skip right from 1 mana cost to 3.
All right, we have the Ogre Warmaul. 3 mana, 4 attack, 2 durability. 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. Again, please do not put this weapon around children. It's just not safe for them, not safe for you. This is such a bizarre weapon. All these ogres are just so weird. Now, the ogres' minions are pretty good because they're typically, say, a 4/4 for 3 mana. And this also is great for the mana cost, but just something about it. I have yet to even touch this card. Even for my silly decks that I play, I still haven't put it into a silly deck. I don't like it.
Yeah, you might have 3 minions out there who you could kill with this, and then you've got a Ragnaros. And chances are, with my luck, I'd hit the Ragnaros and take 8 points of damage.
Take 8 points of damage, exactly. Yeah, that's my thought too. The 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy, it's one thing when it's a minion doing it because it's not going to hurt you as your character. But this blade will. It can. So I wouldn't use it.
Me neither. Never, ever.
Well, we all agree.
Yeah, we all agree. I think this one kind of gets a little bit of a thumbs down.
Now, there's one circumstance where I might put it in a deck, and that's if they ever raise the number of cards that we're allowed to have for our decks. If it was a 60-card deck like in Magic the Gathering, I might play with it. But
I'd still find a different card.
When you only have 30 cards, I just would not waste the spot.
Plus, it's another weapon that, you can't use your Death Spite, or you can't use your Fiery War Axe. You have to use this Ogre Warmaul, which is already up there. And so, like you said, it could hit the Ragnaros.
And isn't that so interesting that last expansion, Naxxramas, they gave us this awesome weapon, Death Spite, which is just amazing for a lot of reasons. And then they came out with this, which is such utter crap.
We have to level the playing field. An awesome weapon for a very poor weapon.
All right, the next card is the Bouncing Blade, 3 casting cost. This is a rare. It's deal 1 damage to a random minion and repeat until a minion dies. Now, this, at the beginning, I was going to say, well, that's pretty cool, but then I realized it's going to bounce and be damaging your minions as well. This is a risky card. It's going to keep dancing around until something dies. It could kill yours.
So the trick is not to use it when you've got minions that are likely to be killed by it.
It's kind of like a twist on their brawl. It's kind of a twisty brawl.
But my RNG failed on me using this the other day. My opponent had 2 minions. One was a 1/1 with Divine Shield, and the other had 4 or 5 health. So I was hoping it would hit the one with Divine Shield just once to get rid of that Divine Shield. I took out the one with the 4 or 5 health without ever touching that other one. So luck doesn't always go in your favor, even when the odds say they should. So it's risky, but I have one, and I use it, and I like it, and I will keep it in my deck.
I could see it being for a fun deck. I don't know how safe it would be for a deck that you're trying to climb the ladder with.
Well, remember, you also have warrior cards that kill wounded people. There are trolls and such that get tougher when they're wounded.
I mean, it would
So-
enrage your warbot.
So it would be nice to have it hit your enrage minions once and then take out your opponent's minion. So even hitting yourself, I mean, you have Garrosh out there. Chances are it's not going to kill Garrosh if there's other minions out there, but it would enrage him enough that you could attack with that enraged power. So I like it. Mech.
I like this card a lot. I probably like it more than most people do, I would say. This was one of the first cards I crafted into well, once the GVG cards were released. I heard about this card and instantly loved it. And the animation is really cool too, with the buzzsaw flying across the board and hitting all these different minions. I think one of the best uses of this card for my warrior control deck. I don't have it in there right now, but if you play it with nothing else on the table, it will kill whatever minions out there. So, most control warriors, they run 2 shield slams and they'll run 2 executes. So players will count and they'll say, okay, there's 1 shield slam, 2 shield slam, and he's used 2 executes. Okay, there's no other removal spells out there. And that's wrong because here comes the bouncing blade. So it's a really cool card, and it's really, really awesome in a rage deck. So I made an enraged warrior deck. Hasn't been that successful recently, but I put this card in there, and this card plus Frothing Berserker that gets +1 attack every time a minion is damaged is unbelievably powerful.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I killed Ysera with this once because it was the only minion on the field.
and she has 12 health, and you did 12 damage to her. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty powerful for 3 mana if you think about it that way. It's situational, of course, and it can absolutely go sour real fast when it kills the minion with the highest health, which you control, versus a 2-mana minion on the other side of the board. That had also happened to me too. This is a card that I think will get more use as expansions unfold. Once
Yeah,
we have
well-
more enraged cards.
It's never killed my own because I've never actually played it when I had minions on my field, or at least minions that I was really padding the RNG. I made sure that I only had overwhelmingly more healthy minions than my opponent. So far it hasn't killed my own. It's killed the one I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
But it hasn't killed my own, so I've been fortunate there.
I don't have the card. I would put it in a warrior deck, I think, if I had it, just to see and for the fun factor. I'm sure it would be just a fun factor card is good. Unfortunately, I'm saving my gold right now for the next expansion because I still haven't decided whether I want to save towards the puppy or save towards the game.
You mean the next standalone adventure?
The next standalone adventure. Well, it's not standalone because it borrows from other cards. But anyway, I have about 1,600 gold saved up, and I'd love to buy more Goblin versus Gnomes sets, but I am saving for the next wing. I guess, yeah. I want to spend my gold. In hopes that the RNG will actually be kind and give me something I don't already have, like it's been doing. Knick-Knack, save me. Go to the
Going out
next
of
card.
order. It's my
Oh!
turn.
It is, I think
is-
it's...
It's on his main
Yeah,
screen.
Autumn's turn. That's right.
Yes. So the Screwjank Clunker, which really sounds like profanity,
It does.
it's got a 4 casting cost. It's a 2/5 mech. Battle Cry, give a friendly mech +2/+2. It's the only warrior card from this expansion I don't have. And if I had it, I would probably use it if I had a mech deck for warriors. Because giving +2/+2 to another mech is significant. And yeah, his health is not too much to write home about. I'm sorry, his attack, but he's pretty healthy, 5, and it's just I would only use it in a mech deck. I would not use that any other time for
Well,
obvious
yeah.
reasons because. But even a regular deck that had a couple of mechs in it, I wouldn't do it unless my minions were overwhelmingly mechs. But I think it's okay. It's a rare card. It's all right. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it into a deck unless I had a warrior mech deck, and I did make a warrior mech deck put him in there. It was pretty effective, but he's very, he's just a poor sap. If you look at the artwork on the card, I just feel bad for the guy.
Looks like the Tin Man.
He does. He's a big guy. He's a loner. Yeah, I mean it's a decent card, but it's not nothing to jump up and down over.
I just like the name. The
Yeah.
Screwjank Clunker.
You could find it on UrbanDictionary.com maybe.
Yeah, right. It's again, I don't have this card either, but it seems like a decent enough card. If it's an in-mech deck again, yeah, a 2/5 card is hard to kill. Its forecasting cost is not bad, so that's going to come out pretty quick. And then it gives another mech +2/+2. So yeah, it's a decent card. I would put it in a deck if I had it. It doesn't get the thumbs down that the Ogre Warmaul does.
Oh no, that card gets 2 thumbs down.
I think it got 3 actually.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so moving on here, we have the Siege Engine. 5 mana, it's a 5/5 mech, it's a rare. Whenever you gain armor, give this minion +1 attack.
Holy crap!
Doesn't that
Sorry.
just sound amazing?
Yes, it does.
I haven't used it. I don't know. I just have not. Even in my warrior mech deck, I never used it. It was more of an aggro deck.
It's not in your deck,
No,
or it just never came out.
no. I just never. I only have one of the cards. I don't have 2, but I never put it in there. I've never even tried to make a deck with it. And every time I see it, I think to myself, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna work on this. I'll find a deck for it." And I just keep pushing it off. I never even do it. I don't know why. It just doesn't stand out that much to me. But it could. I mean, if you think about it, it could be super powerful with like Armorsmith out there, right? Which gains +1 every time one of your minions is attacked. Toss out the Bouncing Blade. Hello,
Shield
Siege Engine.
Maiden. But we'll talk about her later.
Yeah, I've
Right.
used it, and it's been rather successful for me in terms of a card in a deck doing its job. But as I told you off screen earlier, I've barely won a warrior game since since this expansion came out. It's just I'm not doing well with the warrior, and I've actually stopped playing it for now. But when I was playing it, this was quite useful, and it was also had one of those big targets on its head. My opponents saw the potential in it and would quickly
yeah.
take it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, your hero power is to gain what, 2 armor, or is it 1? Because again, I don't play the
2 armor.
warlock. Is it 2 armor? So whenever you're
But-
pumping your armor, you're pumping your card.
Yes, but take this into consideration. You gain 1, okay? 1 attack each time it gains armor. It's not for each armor you gain. So when the Shield Maiden comes out and gives it 5 armor, that's only 1 instance. So it's
Oh,
only going
okay.
to a 6/5. It's
I
not
gotcha.
suddenly becoming a 10/5.
I gotcha. All right.
That would be broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. I do
But
have
it's
this
still
card.
decent.
Yes.
I like the borders. I think it's a pretty card. But that aside, yeah, it seems like a decent card to me. I would use it absolutely. In fact, I have 2 of them. So if I ever do make a warrior deck, I'd probably put that in there. Yeah, I will make a warrior mech deck. We'll see.
See? You can put your Screwjane Clunker in there and your Warbot.
I don't have it.
Oh, well, then you can craft it.
Black Lace gets
moving
to
on.
talk about all the good cards.
I do. Did you notice that? I'm playing
Yeah.
that well. The Iron Juggernaut. 6 casting cost, 6/5 creature. He's legendary. Battle cry is shuffle a mine into your opponent's deck. When drawn, it explodes for 10 damage. I had this played against me once. He did more damage to me with the Iron Juggernaut than the mine because the mine never came up. I don't know, maybe it was the last card in my pile. I never saw the mine come up. And I only saw it played against me the one time, so I'm not sure. You guys are the warrior players. Seems to me it's a decent card. But you guys again are the warriors. What do you think?
Well, I have it. And I have gotten 2 and only 2 legendaries from packs. I crafted Trogzor, but I got Vol'jin the first day when we bought all those cards, and Iron Juggernaut, so I was sure to use him. And I have seen that bomb actually get drawn twice of all the times I've played him, and it was devastating to the opponent one time, and the other time it was against a priest who just healed it all back again. But I like using it, and a 6/5 for 6 with a chance to do an additional 10. And what's funny is I might have better cards on the table, and people keep trying to kill this one as if killing it will stop that bomb from coming. It won't.
Right, because
That bomb is there.
Yep.
now I've got a question for you guys. Are there warrior cards that help, that cause your opponent to draw cards? Because if you could get your opponent drawing cards, then that would be where this would be beneficial. Because you're now making him go through his deck, and he's likely to draw that card all the faster.
Well, you're going to play this card fairly late in the game because of its casting costs, so that increases the chance that the next card drawn by the opponent, who's now down to, only 2/3 of his deck size, give or take, will draw that card. So I think the odds are fair. I guess it would be broken if, it always procced. But I kind of like it. Micmac, have you played it?
Well, I'm actually crafting it as we speak.
Are you really?
There you go. So, I have not played with this card yet, as I have just crafted it. But this card is so cool. I just love it, and that's why I just crafted it right now. What people have done with it, some players, they'll put the Youthful Brewmaster, into their deck, which is a 3/2 for 2 mana. It's the Panda, which returns a minion to your hand. So they'll play Iron Juggernaut, right? Then they'll play the Panda, bring back the Iron Juggernaut to their hand, put another mine into their opponent's deck, and then play the Panda again later on. So there's 30 damage inserted into your opponent's deck. So every time your opponent draws a card, they hold their breath and hope they don't die.
And that would work well with the mech because, first of all, this is a mech. But second of all, there is a spare part that returns your
Yes.
a card to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that a lot on the Steamweedle Sniper, which lets me target people with my Hunter's target hero power. So instead of 2 to the face, I could do 2 to a minion. And so I'll use that spare part a lot on that particular minion, so he won't get killed, and the next time I need to target someone specifically, I could play him again. But that spare part would be awesome with this Iron Juggernaut. That's a great
wouldn't
idea.
it be?
All right, so
Yeah.
when you put this in your warrior deck, I challenge you with my
Ogre Warmaul?
No, I don't. I'm
Which
not
wouldn't
playing
kill
a
it.
warrior. I will play you against my my warlock mech deck against your warrior deck with that card in it once you're
Deal.
crafted. Okay.
Deal.
All right, next card.
Is it my turn? I think it is.
Bane. Is it your turn? I keep
No.
skipping over everybody.
We have the Shield Maiden, 6 mana, 5/5.
Wait, I did the Screwgen Clunker, and Micmac did the Siege Engine.
Oh yeah.
And I did the Iron Juggernaut. So
I'm trying to steal the good cards.
we
So,
keep
so the Shield
skipping over.
Maiden is mine.
It's the
and-
second time we tried to bypass him.
And it's the first. This is one of those minions that I said, it costs too much. I won't use it. And then I started using it, and I love it. 6 casting cost, 5/5 minion. Not too bad, but the battle cry is gain 5 armor, which just provides so much protection and synergy
Oh,
with so
yeah.
many other warrior cards getting that armor. That she had to prove herself to me, and she did. And I like her. And I have her in gold, which is really cool because if you look at the regular one, she's just a gnome standing there with a shield and a weapon, but the gold version has arrows flying by.
And we both have the gold version. That's cool.
I don't. But
So
I
I have one
her.
of her, and I use her all the time.
Now I have 2 of her. I think she's an awesome card. I've seen her, every time I see her used against me, I use a lot of profanity towards that warrior. That's all there is to it, because boom, 5 armor. Like, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
And she's a 5/5 creature, so she packs a wallop. And not only does she hit you hard, but she protects her warrior, like a shield maiden should. And she
So
kind of looks a little bit like the girl from Vikings.
that's right. We said that last time about her too.
Yep.
When we first found out about, when we got a preview of some of the Goblins versus Gnomes cards, one of the cards was Shield Maiden, and I didn't like it. I really was not impressed by it because I already had Shield Block, and I thought, well, I'm already going to gain 5 armor and draw a card. This is a minion, but this is Autumn Spain. You said it. She's great. She's an amazing card. I have 2 of her in my deck. She keeps me alive. She's my shield. She's my maiden. She's my shield maiden. Love her.
I was just going to say it sounds like you're in love with this card.
I do. I love her. If I wasn't married, I mean, I'd be after her.
Okay, the next card. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead? I guess the next card would mean you have a crush on the Shield Maiden.
Segue.
Go ahead.
Crush. 7 mana epic. Destroy a minion. If you have a damaged minion, this costs 4 less. I crafted this card. I thought it was really, really cool. I wanted to have all the warrior cards, but I don't use it. I don't much care for it. When there's a very good enraged deck out there, I will probably have this card in it. But as of right now, no, it's just way too expensive, and it's tough to have it cost 3 mana.
If you have damaged it, I don't know. This is situational. I know it seems kind of risky. Do you have it? Did you say?
I do. I do have it. I've used it for a little bit, but I just don't care much for it, to be quite honest. But once I have an enraged deck that is actually decent and works, I'll put this card in there.
All right, I'm not sold on it. Destroy a minion if you've already damaged. If you have a damaged minion. Wait, okay, this just turned around for me. So if they've actually done damage to you with their 8/8 taunting giant, and now their taunting giant is an 8/7, you can destroy it with this card.
No. So let's say you have a 4/4, and let's say your 4/4 now took 1 damage, then this card now costs 3 instead of 4 mana. If your minions are damaged.
Right, but
it's the caster that
saying
has
is
the damaged minion.
Destroy minion if you have a damaged. Okay, got it.
It's not the opponent that has a damaged minion. It's you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're never mind. Yes. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just alright.
Well, it is epic, and we know how the epics are in this expansion.
Yeah, there are only 2 or 3 of them that are really worth saying they're epic.
Is that a Pit Lord on the artwork?
Yes.
Got a big foot.
Yeah, he's trying to crush you. But...
He's not a Sasquatch, though. He's a demon.
And poor Autumn's Bane missed our joke, but I'll tell him about it later. All right, so moving on from your crush. Oh my god. That was the last card.
That was. Can you believe it?
Yeah, that's it. So, of the warrior cards, would you say Siege Engine is the best pick? Or no, you like the Iron Juggernaut?
I like the Shield Maiden. I think that's the best warrior card.
Now, I see 3 cards I like a lot. I see Bouncing Blade, I see Shield Maiden, I see Iron Juggernaut.
And I like the Screw Giant Clunker.
And actually, Bouncing Blade isn't epic, so it broke the rule.
Yeah, 1 or 2 of them did. Alright, so decent cards. Yeah. Maybe I'll play a warlock someday. See, I mean, a warrior someday. See, I can't say that because what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with me and the rogue and the warlock, which is to say, I now love playing them. Maybe if I play a warrior enough, I'll eventually like it.
Yeah, but
And to all your warrior
like some of
players,
that
no
other-
offense,
None
just
taken.
not my style.
like some of those other classes, it's not a generic class to play. I mean, everyone can wrap their head around a mage. It's like, blast, put down minions, blast them with spells. But there's very nuanced strategy with a warrior, just like with a rogue. I don't think they come as close to the rogue because the rogue has to time everything just right because of the combos. But warrior is kind of tricky, knowing when to armor up, knowing when to attack, knowing when to trade minions. And yes, every class is like that, but I don't think warrior is a beginning class.
I agree.
Warrior's not, rogue is not, shaman is not. A lot of them
A lot of the
are
weapon
tricky.
classes.
Yeah, I mean, the rogue is really tricky because you've got to figure out your combos. The shaman is very tricky because you've got to figure out your mana crystals because you're going to be overloading them. So yeah,
But
definitely
I think
not.
priests, paladins, and mages and hunters are kind of
Yeah.
like with most. There's a saying that people use for most Blizzard games: easy to learn, hard to master. So some of the classes are just easier to learn. Still, they're all hard to master because there are plenty of people playing mages and hunters who do it poorly. But
And you're talking Warcraft,
I just,
not necessarily the card game
no,
here.
I'm talking this card game, but it's
okay.
It's the same with all Blizzard games. They make it so that you can play at entry level and not feel completely, out of it, but it takes a long time to become really good at it. Whereas other games out there like League of Legends, where you have to be good from the very beginning or be a masochist, one or the other, because it's hard to even learn the basics to and keep up. Whereas this game, you can, because of the MMR, you have a chance of playing people who won't kill you all the time,
Well, going on from that, when we're talking about learning how to play different types of whatever, I can't think of the word. We're skipping the word because it's not coming to me. The shaman card, I wasn't going to talk about the new adventure coming up, and I saw a shaman card and I just went bug shit. Like that. I went bug shit. It's called Lava Shock. It is the coolest card, and I cannot wait for it to come out, and I cannot wait for it to go into my shaman deck, and I will craft it, and it will absolutely get nerfed. Because right now, Lava Shock is a 2 mana card. It's a rare, so I will wind up having to craft it. It's a 2 mana card. Oh, wait, no. I won't have to craft it because we'll be getting almost all the cards when we're done.
Right.
It deals 2 damage. Okay? 2 mana for 2 damage. You think that's no problem. But it unlocks every single mana crystal that you locked up. So if you cast it at the end of your turn, you unlock all the mana crystals that you locked up during your turn. And if you cast it at the beginning of turn, you unlock everything that may have been locked up at the end of the last turn if you didn't have the extra mana to do it. So all of a sudden, you've got all your mana back.
Yeah,
It's
that's
an awesome
really cool.
card. I am so excited for this card to come out. I really am. I just think this might be like the best shaman card ever.
Yeah, it's awesome. And apparently Ben Brode was quoted as saying that Lava Shock resets your overload on the current turn or your next turn.
That's what I meant. As I said, you can play it at the end of your turn and unlock all that mana you locked up, or you can play it at the beginning of the turn if you had used all your mana up that first turn. So, I mean, either way, you get to use this.
Well,
Yeah.
unlocks it, so it doesn't matter which turn.
Right.
If you do it the current turn, it's unlocking them. If you do it next turn, it's unlocking them, so it makes sense.
Yep. Good card. Excellent card. 2 mana, does 2 damage, and unlocks all your crystals. I like it a lot.
Really looking forward to this adventure mode.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Like
So
the shamans aren't kicking my butt enough.
I haven't even really been playing a shaman recently. It's still my favorite, absolute favorite, but I've been having fun with my rogue and my warlock mech decks. And
You
yes,
know,
I
we
did
don't
send a couple of people my mech decks.
really talk about plays of the week much anymore, but mana classes that have to get benefit or cleverly use their mana. It's amazing what a druid can do. I had a druid just totally kick my butt on turn 5 because every card in the game that could give him mana he had out like immediately. So on turn 2 he had like 4 minions out. It was obscene, and he just totally annihilated me. So I could see Shaman's getting some benefit there.
Yep, definitely. Micmac.
Micmac.
Rogue Zor.
Rogue Zor. So I tested a deck this week, and if you couldn't tell, this deck is a mixture of Trogzor the Earthinator being the key card and Rogue being the hero. This deck was sent to us by Pseudoping. Hello guys, I listen to the show practically every day at work as I download it off iTunes every Tuesday morning. I figured with the discussion of legendaries, and as you can tell it took me a while to get to this deck, because there's a lot in the inbox, I'd share with you one of the ideas that were brought to my head from that discussion. And don't worry, Autumn Spain, it's not priest related. The deck is lovingly called Rogue Zor, and I will be giving replacements for legendaries you may not own. However, legendaries that cannot be replaced will not have a suggestion. Rogue Zor, if you couldn't have guessed, Rogue class. So we have 2 Backstabs, 1 Shadow Step, 2 Zombie Chow, 1 Blade Fury, Flurry, I always call it Fury, Blade Flurry, 2 Shiv, 2 Annihilotron, Blood Mage Thalnos, replacement is Kobold Geomancer or Loot Hoarder, 2 Defiant Ringleader, 2 Stone Splitter Trog, 2 Fan of Knives, SI7 Agent, Ancient Mage, Burly Rockjaw Trog, say that 5 times fast, Mini Mage, 2 Azure Drake, Faceless Manipulator, Lotheb, the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, Trade Prince Gallywix, replacement, hey, where's his cut? You can trade this out with protection like Sludge Belcher. And finally, Dr. Broom. His replacement, literally any large enough minion. And finally, Trogzor the Earthinator. Please do give this deck a shot. Spell damage in the deck definitely helps clearing the board early and late. Well, so this was a pretty unique rogue deck. There aren't any eviscerates or deadly poisons or things like that. So I was kind of wondering how this would pan out, but I'm a huge fan, and we all are huge fans in this show of Trogzor the Earthinator. Well, I ended up going 2-5 with the deck, which isn't too bad. I won my first game, and I won my last game, but I kind of got beat up in the middle. It's pretty much the middle of the game, like turns 4, 5, and 6, where I struggled to sort of like find my ground. But if I was able to last through there, then I found that I was winning. But not having eviscerates with the spell damage kind of hurt me a little bit. But the Blade Flurry was just unbelievable with all the spell damage that we had out there with Blood Mage Thalnos and the Mini Mage and even the Ancient Mage.
Oh,
even
because
that
it was
guy.
giving pluses to all yours.
Right. So all that spell
Nice.
damage was just going up, and some big AoE Fan of Knives and such. But Game 5, I didn't see Trogzor the Earthinator come out until Game 5, and I was wondering where he was. I kind of maybe thought that I forgot to put him in the deck, but nope, he was in there all right. He was way at the bottom. He came out, and his army of Trogs just invaded the board, and I ended up crushing a rogue. I just beat a hunter, and I beat a rogue. I lost to Paladin, Warrior, and a rogue brutally. But 2-5, Pseudoping, thank you very much for sending in the deck.
So did you have fun playing it, or did you need to play it more to see Trogzor come out more?
Well, I mean, I always have fun playing these decks. These nice, unique decks that people put their own personal flair and flavor on. That's the best part about Hearthstone. I just wish there were, it was more Trogzor. There were Trogs, but there was no Trogzor, coming out fairly early. He just came out in Game 5, and he's such a beast. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great card. Hence the reason I crafted him, because I had to have him. Just had to. So we had an iTunes review from Canada this past week. And Nick Mac, would you kindly read it for us?
Absolutely. This is from Ultra Mega 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 Man.
Mega Man.
Loved it. 5 stars. Down to earth host with honest, non-expert opinions. Just fun. WGAF. And go ahead and Google that acronym if you don't know what it means.
I
Yeah,
like that.
There's a podcast that I listened to, and the way they described themselves were a roundtable discussion about the subject matter at hand. And that's kind of what we are, a roundtable discussion. We're not an advice giving. People have accused us of giving bad advice. We never claim to be the best people to give advice. People will ask our advice sometimes
And
in
we give our
emails,
opinions.
and we'll give our opinions, which I guess is advice, but it's solicited advice. And we never claimed to know everything, but we've gotten dozens of comments from people saying how we've helped them. And sometimes you help someone not by saying this is the best way to do, and if you do it any other way you're a noob, like I've actually heard on other podcasts.
Yeah.
But we say, try it this way, you might like it. And if our discussing it helps you think more about the card and helps you come to your own conclusions, even if they're different than ours, then I feel we've done our part.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add to this week's show, Nick Mac first?
I counted a interesting deck I wanted to talk about.
Oh, cool.
So there's this card in GVG called the Clockwork Giant, and it's an 8/8, which costs 1 less for each card your opponent has in their hand, right? And I was playing a rogue just a couple days ago, and I was expecting it to be a Tinker's Oil Rogue with Violet Teacher and something that you see all the time, pretty much mainstream. I was playing on ladder. I haven't been laddering up too much this season. I've been very casual, which is maybe a lot happier than grinding a mech mage. But anyhow, so I'm playing this rogue, and I see Clockwork Giant come out, and I'm like, this is so bizarre. But then I realize I have 10 cards in my hand. It was basically a mill rogue deck with Vanish inside of it and all the giants. It was really cool, and I thought it was incredibly unique. And I ended up beating the guy, but afterwards I friended him and I said, "Hey, really cool deck idea. Love the fact it's unique. I thought it was going to be oil rogue, so on and so forth." Well, I don't think it's just his idea, because today I played somebody who also had the exact same deck. So it must be a net deck out there, but I just thought it was pretty interesting just to see a rogue use giants. I'm sure some other people have encountered that, but it was pretty cool. It was like a rogue handlock deck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. So you also want to build your opponent's hand up so you can
Right.
cast this out too.
Right. And so that Vanish card, let's say that you have 9 cards in your hand and you have 3 minions on the board, okay? When that rogue uses Vanish, 1 minion comes back to your hand and the other 2 vanish. They're just discarded. It's pretty potent. And it's a deceiving card because Vanish is very expensive, and it's a card you never expect to see. Costs 6 mana, which returns all the minions to their owner's hands, right?
I have that in gold, actually. That is the coolest looking card.
Yeah, it's got some good artwork to it.
Yes. So
Right.
yeah, that's an interesting way of playing that. So you're actually forcing your opponent's hand to grow while you are playing your giants.
Yep.
Interesting.
And I was using my Control Warrior deck, and I had a ton of cards in my hand to begin with, so this rogue was probably salivating at the mouth knowing that I was a Control
Yes.
Warrior, and he was going to see
Maniacal
all these...
giggling.
Warrior, yes.
Yeah. Autumn's Bane, anything to add to the show? Oh, Autumn's Bane is gone yet again. So I'm not sure he'll be back for us to say goodbye to. He's had a rather bad day. On that note, you can we want to see your emails coming in so we can read them and talk about them and discuss them. And as always, Micmac wants to play with your deck, so please
Always.
please send them on so he can play with them. You can find us on Twitter and follow us at A Worthy Opponent. You can listen to us on Monday evenings, Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock at twitch.tv/HoloSuiteMedia. You can email us at awohearthstone@gmail.com. You can send us a shout out. No, we shout you out. I'm sorry. You can send us a review on iTunes. You can follow us on Facebook at AWO Hearthstone. Find us on Stitcher Satellite Radio, Google Plus, A Worthy Opponent. Once again, as usual, special thanks to HoloSuite Media and to Xander, our man behind the curtain.
The Wizard
And
of Oz.
thank you. Yes, thank you to Awesome City Limits for the theme music that you let us play, that you showed at BlizzCon and won with. It was awesome. Thank you all. And to our listeners, thank you for listening, and thank you for being there for us and letting us know you're out there. Happy Hearthing.
The end is coming.
What does he always say?
Winter is coming.
Oh, yeah. I can't now.
You always
Winter's
say that.
going. It's almost spring. Woohoo! I will be so happy to have no more snow.
Yep, spring will soon be sprung.
Yes. It was an old poem. Spring has sprung. The bird is on the wing. That's absurd. The wing is on the bird. Sorry.
This is where Autumn Spain said something punny and funny. Insert here.
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of A Worthy Opponent, a production of HoloSuite Media. Join us next 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to check holosuitemedia.com, iTunes, and Stitcher Satellite Radio for our remastered shows and more. You can follow us on Twitter at Worthy Opponent. Or if you have any questions or comments, please send an email to awohearthstone@gmail.com. Welcome to our inn.